Okay, so in part one, we looked at analyzing the Amazon financials, and so we'll continue from there. So you typically go through the balance sheet, look at the numbers, understand how they've changed over the last few years, um, particularly um, compared to prior. And so that's what I'm doing right now to see if there's been any significant changes in the numbers. It's a fairly fast-growing business, so you can expect a lot of changes. Okay, so there are some significant changes, and so you would stop to think, well, what's causing the changes? And then you kind of I would put them in my notes. Yeah, I would put them in my notes because I'd want to know why. So let me do that right now. So you look through the financials and the notes in the income statement to understand some of the changes. The notes are like a really rich source of information. Yeah, they tell you a lot of stuff that you might not otherwise be able to find in other places, like other parts of the of the annual report. There's different notes. One particularly interesting one is subsequent notes disclosure, because that tells you what happened in the company after the year end, um, which, in and of itself isn't particularly important, but to the extent that there might be some litigation or something of the sort that's helpful to understand about the entity. Yep, so you keep looking through the different notes to understand what's changed. The prior notes are always a good set to open up, like I said, to or if you pulled up the prior annual report, for example, you could learn a lot about what the entity is doing, the causes of some of the changes in the numbers and that sort of thing. So I have last year's notes pulled up, and I'm just looking through them now, just to see if anything really sticks out. Yep, there's nothing that's particularly sticking out at me. What else you could do is read notes to the shareholders, for example. Sometimes you find information down there. It can definitely show you some of the things that, the company is concerned about, some of the things that the shareholders themselves are concerned about. Okay, so there's some notes that were sent to the shareholders here. What's that about? Yeah, just some approvals from the IRS. Yeah, I don't see anything particularly jumping out at me. Yep, it all just looks fun. I'm still looking at um, more of the correspondence and like the letters to shareholders and that sort of thing, just to see if there's anything that jumps out at me. Like I said, there's some things that are not required to be disclosed in the financial, so you miss it if you just look at the financials. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, you just have to love these numbers. It just opens your eyes so much in terms of what's happening within the entity. Um, because people typically know, the entity as consumers, not so much as from like a financial analysis standpoint. And so this is what makes this detailed analysis of the financials particularly interesting. They also would, sometimes tend to have a lot of intercompany balances. So reading that piece is also kind of interesting, because you get to understand um, a little bit more about the business and what they're doing. Mm. Yeah, the business with associated companies is really an interesting one. And it's interesting how, companies treat this stuff differently for tax purposes and how they navigate different spaces from like a tax preparation perspective. They do have some US dollar. The primary reporting currency is in US dollars, but there is some like exchange rate differences which are important for just understanding the FX conversions. A lot of what they're allowed or not allowed to do is fairly standard, I think. Let me know in the comments what you like better, what you enjoy analyzing better, the income statement or the balance sheet. Some people enjoy looking at the auditor's report, which is, of itself pretty exciting, interesting, rather. But it depends what you're interested in. So absolutely no judgment there. There's more schedules than, just the three that I mentioned, but those are the three primary ones that folks are concerned about. I take extensive notes as I review. It just makes it easier for later. You don't have to come back and do like a detailed review. Like you understand the entity, you can explain it easier to other people. Yeah, it's just it makes for a better experience for everybody reading. Okay, so I think we're close to finalizing our review here of this particular set of financials. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll do a video that's actually dedicated to responding to those questions. Anything that's on your minds, do let me know. I will look into it. I'll try get you I'll try get you the answers you need. And I guess I will see you on the next video. We'll pick a different set of companies to look at, and a lot of the issues are the same, but like I always say, each entity has a unique set of things on its own that we want to sort of look at and do a deep dive on. So excited to see y'all on the next one. Thank you.